Once upon a time, there was a country ruled by a king, and he had no son to succeed to the throne. Since the king was getting old, he decided to select a suitable successor to rule his country. The king sent notices throughout his country. The notices invited every qualified young man for an interview with the king. The outcome of that interview would decide that who would be the next successor, a possible successor of that country. The only qualification for the candidate was that they should have immense love for their fellow human beings. Every young man across the country was very excited at the possibility of being next ruler of that country. A very poor young man from remote village also read the notice, and he started to prepare for an interview with the king. But when he found out that he didn't have the proper attire, proper clothes to go for the interview, but he was a very kind person and he was a very hard-working person. He really worked hard and saved some money and bought some new clothes and the supplies that will support the journey to the palace. After he got the supplies and the proper clothes for interview, he set out for his quest. He traveled many days and had almost completed his journey when he came upon a poor beggar by the side of the road. The poor beggar sat in a trembling cold and covered by a tattered rugs. Once the beggar saw that young man, he extended his arms and pleaded for help. The beggar said, "I am cold and hungry. I need help, sir. Please help me." The young man was so moved by his pathetic condition that he stripped off his clothes and offered it to him. And he also offered the supply he carried to the palace. Then the beggar thanked him 1,000 times. But since he had offered his new clothes to the beggar, he was a little bit hesitant to go for the interview. But he gathered enough courage to go for the interview in dirty clothes. Upon the arrival at the palace, a king's attendant showed him the way of the great hall. After waiting for a while, that young man was called for an interview with the king in the hall. And once the king entered in the hall, the young man bowed very low. Once he raised his eyes, he was gasped in astonishment and shocked. The king's face looked very similar to the beggar. Once the king saw that young man, he understood that he is thinking about the same situation. The king said, "Yes, you're right, I was the beggar." In very weak voice, the young man said, "But why were you dressed like a beggar? You're a king." And then the king said, "Because I had to know that you had a good heart and you genuinely love your fellow human beings. If I would be there as a king, you would have done anything to impress me. But that way, I would never have known what is truly in your heart." The generosity and love to a man in need without expecting anything in return is the sign of a great heart. And then the king said, "The country needs leaders like you, so you are the next successor and you will be the next ruler of this country." So guys, we all understand with this story now that kindness is more important than wisdom. And recognition of kindness is the beginning of wisdom. A heart filled with compassion and love to our fellow human beings is the greatest gift we can give to the world. Thank you guys. So if you really like this story, please like this video and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.